Okay, hello, and welcome to the July 29th meeting of SIG Service Catalog. So feel free to fill in your name on the meeting agenda. It's probably going to be pretty short today. We don't really have a lot to go over. So I've been out for the past couple of weeks, so I'm not really up to date on what's going on. I think we have a thing on the agenda now to triage stuff, but I don't really see any new stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna, I guess, open up the floor. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about today?
Nothing from me.
Yeah, also nothing from me because I was off last 2 weeks.
Okay. Actually, I suppose I have a couple things I could talk about. So, Matthews, where are you guys? Like, what's the thing you're going to be working on next?
So basically, we are a little bit overloaded with our tasks about our internal release, but what we did already is that we created documentation. Let me share my screen if I can do it. Okay, sure. So basically, you should see board on GitHub. I will show you that. Let me check it out. So basically, we created documentation for the CRDs. There is already a request for that.
Okay, I didn't see that. Sorry.
Yeah, but one is directly to the Kubernetes website because there need to be also changed because of some diagrams and also the internal details about the API server. This is the one, and the second one is directly to the Kubernetes SIG service catalog. Let me check it. Okay, this that one. And that guy, okay, is already even after our technical review from our technical person. And what we did, we just changed the documentation under the SIG service catalog about the main README, added information about the migration, changed some document about the authorization stuff, how it looks like now, and also describe the webhook server, add some diagrams. Let me show it. Okay, there's updated diagram how it really works right now, and that's basically from our side, from our point of view, will be mostly all about the documentation itself. The last thing that we need to do is documentation is already done. Yeah, that one. Update release process, right? So we will be able to release CRD branch and also the API server branch without any problem. That's, I think, that the last thing that we need to figure out. So basically, documentation is already in place. Migration is already done. We already have our migration jobs, documentation for migration. I can even show you that it's also on our catalog. Okay, let me go to our fork, because that guy will be just applied after we will merge the CRD implementation. Then we can immediately create new pull requests for CRD migration, and that guy have new job, migration job written in Go, which you can just execute, and the stuff like collecting all resources, applying new schema, and put it back into Kubernetes will be done automatically. There is also documentation for that. So if someone, for example, did that manually, then there's a full documentation what we did under the hood with diagrams, plus manual step if you want to do that without the chart magic, right? Basically, most of us probably are using Helm chart. Then if you did something like that, then the migration process is out of the box. If you did that in some manual process, or in some pipeline, then you can check how that tool is working and execute it manually. Yeah, so that's basically all that we have for now.
Cool, great.
But yeah, and I think that the last thing is just how to release API server and CRD together without any problem. And then we can somehow service alloc. Okay, let me show you. Go through the pull request about the CRD implementation, that one. So this test, I think that you already assigned it for it. There is a test, the last test that should be merged before CRDs. Is the story about, you can see it here. Sometimes ago, we created an issue about rewriting controller tests because they are basically based on API server. So before going with CRDs, you wanted to have some abstraction layer over on that, so it working both all of those tests are working with the API server and CRDs, and that guy is the last one. So rewriting the last test is done basically by one of our teammates, and I think it's even not too much here because basically the whole implementation was and helpers was already merged to master. So,
All right, I'll try and take a look at that to this
yeah.
week. So
Okay, that's good.
my plans for myself. So I'm back from Japan. I don't have any conferences until KubeCon, whenever San Diego is, October or whatever. So my plan is to put my head down on this and also the other stuff on 030, starting with the UPS stuff. Try and get that pushed through. So
Okay.
feel free to reach out to me if you need anything specific. I'll try working on that pull request you just showed me, and like I said, the UPS stuff.
Super cool.
In terms of San Diego, so I'm gonna sign up for an intro deep dive session for the SIG like we normally do. I'm perfectly. Oh, okay. See you later, Sam.
See ya.
I'm perfectly okay with doing that myself, like I have been doing. That's not to say if you're interested in coming to help, like that would be fine. I don't know. Are you planning on being at KubeCon San Diego already?
So basically, we submitted call for papers. One was about the moving to CRD, approach. It's just basically a story to show the difference between the API server and CRDs, but I don't know if that will be accepted. And the second story is about the, I don't know, using Kubernetes is I would plan to do it together with the Scott Nichols from Knative. But basically, I don't have any plans to go there without any acceptation of it. So if you want to schedule some talk together about the deep dive, certificate deep dive, then no problem. Basically, I need to ask in my company how it will look like if I want to go to the San Diego, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about the cost center and stuff like that? But yeah, it'd be super cool to do that together.
Okay. All right.
So
Well,
I
like,
will just
I'm gonna apply for it either way. So I just thought I'd let you know.
okay. And how is it look like? Because if you applying for the having some talk there, then you need to fulfill some forms and stuff like that. And if you creating like deep dive for the service catalog, it's just the I don't know,
So
slightly different because it was already closed, right? The call for papers.
so it's sort of a similar process, but it's not the same thing. It's the CFP. It happens directly with usually contributor X or the people who run it, and you still have to submit like a, why are we doing this thing? But it doesn't need to be accepted. You automatically get the slot because of your.
Okay. Okay, and thanks to that you have free KubeCon ticket, or you need to still buy a ticket?
Yeah, it counts as a speaker. Yeah.
Okay, the same way. Okay, so I think that if it's accounts as a speaker, then I will not have any problem to get some cost center to cover the expense for going to San Diego.
Okay. All right, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's pretty much all the things I had to talk about.
Yeah, from my side also.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording then.